Welcome back to Immigration Department of Antigua and Barbuda. This is program 3 in a series of programs about how you gain citizenship of these beautiful twin islands. With me again is Miss Ned, who's one of the officers of the Immigration Department. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you too.
Now, we've spoken a little bit about what citizenship is, what its advantages are. We've had a look at the overview of the process, but one of the key things of the process is all the paperwork you need to gather. And people seem to think all sorts of different things. If you talk to somebody in Antigua, everyone's an expert. But let's find out what you really, really need. Miss Ned, you have a list of all the things that we need to get together.
Yes.
Could you talk us through some of them, please?
Wonderful. So persons who are applying for citizenship, whether it be for registration or naturalization, the documentation remains the same. For persons applying on the grounds of marriage, the documentations remains the same with additional supporting documents which speaks about the marriage.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so for persons applying on the basis of registration or naturalization, documentations will include such as copies of the passport, of all the passports you would have held. We would require the picture page to all the pages that have stamps. So you'll provide all of that for us.
All the passports you've held?
All the passports you have held. We would need copies of all the pages of the passport. So if you have even up to 4 passports, we would require, because we have to capture the person's date of arrival, landing here in Antigua, to put you here for 7 or 8 years.
Passports you've held while you're resident.
While you're resident, yes.
Well, that's a relief. I was going to say I don't have my passport from when I was 10.
No.
Okay,
while you were a resident of the state. Right. We also require police certificate of character from Antigua, police certificate of character from your home country or any country you would have resided for 6 months or more. Yeah. Now, the police certificate of a character from that country must be apostilled.
Now, apostilled, this is a new word to a lot of people. Could you tell us what that actually means?
Basically, it certifies the signature on the police record to authenticate the police record.
And this is different from notarizing, isn't it?
Yes. And of course, there are some countries who are part of the Hague Convention that island or country provides the apostille documents.
And what is that convention?
The Hague Convention.
Yep.
Yes. And there are some countries that are not a part of it, but those countries will have to bring certified documentation to us. So it's no longer a situation where you just bring a police record that is not authenticated by the signature to say that the person is authorized to issue the police record. We now require the police record to be apostilled.
Now, a question about this, because this can be quite difficult for people who live in Antigua. In order to get a document apostilled, you have to go back to the country. You have to post it because you cannot do it via email. Is that right?
I'm not sure for many of the folks, but we have not had a situation whereby our clienteles are posed with a problem to get this done.
Okay, that's good news.
Because oftentimes they will reach out to a family member back home, yes, who is able to get this done for them. Right. So we have not had a situation where a person is having difficulties to get the documents done.
Well, what else do we need?
Separate and apart from that, we would need a copy of the birth certificate. So you present the original along with a copy, and of course the original birth certificate must be apostilled. If you are married, even if you're applying on the basis of registration or naturalization, you too will have to provide the apostilled marriage certificate, because at some point when you do become a citizen, and once you would have been married for more than 3 years, of course, you would want to apply for citizenship for your spouse.
Right.
So on file, we would have already have the apostilled marriage certificate.
Yep.
All right. Proof of address. If you live here, you own your own home, or you have a lease agreement, or let's say you're renting from someone, you would need to provide the proof of that along with a copy of a utility bill to hold you or pin you to that address. Proof of financial stability. If you are gainfully employed, you'll bring to us a job letter. If you are self-employed, operating your own business, you'll bring your business registration, making sure it bears your name on the business.
And there are a lot of people here who are retired or
and their person, yes, for those persons who are living off of their life savings, most likely would ask for a bank statement, and also coming away would ask just for a cover letter to state that I'm a retiree. However, I maintain myself financially off of my life savings. So we'll have that to accompany the bank statement. Yes. Also, we ask for a medical report. This is just like a general checkup to make sure you are in good health and everything is working and nothing is hurting.
Everything is working. I like that.
All right.
And that can be done here, can't
yes,
it?
it's done here as well. Letters from the statutory boards to show that you are paying your taxes, medical benefits, Social Security, Board of Education. So what you will do is visit these institutions, pay to have these letters. The receipts from medical benefit and Social Security you will bring to us for your appointment, because those information comes directly to us. Board of Education, you will directly have to go to them to bring to us the letter from Board of Education.
And what about people who haven't been working, like retirees, or people who haven't been paying these? What happens
now, for those persons, once we go through the document checklist with you and you would have indicated to us, listen, I don't pay contributions here, I'm a retiree, then we do not request of you to present this information. Right. We also have persons who are pensionable here. So what we will ask is for you to just bring a copy of your pension card, because of course, no longer would you be paying these statutory contributions. Yes. Lastly, we ask for what we call a completed residence direction form, because this forms part of the pre-processing.
There'd be a form in here somewhere.
Yes. That form you would have to complete that speaks about where you reside here in Antigua, because you're going to have to walk me to where you live. Again, this forms part of the processing.
Yep.
And then, of course, when we do find where you live, you now have to tell us, give us a brief overview as to your residence, the color of the house. Is it fenced? Do you have a garage? Is it a concrete structure, wooden structure? You give us all of that.
And this is to prove that you actually live where
you say actually you live where you say you live, being that we ask for proof of address.
Right. Yep.
Okay. And that these documentations are for persons who are applying, whether it be for registration or naturalization. For persons by marriage, again, this information remains the same. However, we would now require sworn affidavit of marriage. Okay? Yeah. That speaks about the union of the husband and the wife, to say that we're still cohabitating under the same roof per se. Yes, and the marriage is still strong, all of that. So you'll bring a sworn affidavit of marriage. The spouse, who is the Antiguan, will bring a copy of his or her Antigua Barbuda passport.
Is this a problem you find with marriages of convenience? Do you find this very much?
Well, and hence the reason why an interview is done, and more so the documentations are required.
Right.
Because I can say in the past, when the checks are actually being done, we have come across some persons, probably it's safe to say, maybe a marriage of convenience, whereby the husband is one way and the wife is another place. And I've seen instances whereby the husband is in a relationship with a girlfriend and they are looking forward to having a child when the wife is elsewhere. So we see those things happening, yeah. And we also capture those type of information even in an interview. Yes. Even in interviews, because remember, both husband and wife are interviewed separately. So it's not a situation whereby the spouse shows up here, the applicant shows up here, and the spouse is not here. Then the interview is not going to be done. Both persons will have to be here for their appointments, interviewed separately.
Is this a definitive list?
Yes, and it is subject to change, as you know, because we are a work in progress as the department introduces more things. Yes, but for now, this is what we're asking for of our clientele.
Miss Ned, thank you very much. That's
Not
a
a
very
problem.
comprehensive list. It all
Thank
sounds
you.
fairly straightforward. In another program, we'll be talking about some of the problems that people seem to have on what should be a straightforward thing. And we'll be looking at frequently asked questions and things that people just really want to know, even more than we have done already. Thank you, Miss Ned, for
Thank you
joining me
too.
today.
It's been a pleasure.